And even 5 runs and over in the first Cricbuzz Comm box. I'm Gautam Bhimani in the company of Zaheer Khan, someone who's always maintained the importance of those 2 wickets in the first 10 overs. Yes, you say it from India's point of view, but from any team, not just 2, these people have picked up 4. And how big is that with Steve Smith standing in the way?
Well, they were all over Australians, isn't it? We were not expecting this kind of start for sure. The wicket has looked good. It's just that little extra bounce in the surface which these West Indian bowlers have used it to perfection, isn't it? And there was a very tactical move as well from Jason Holder. I've always been saying that he's someone who's got good feel of the game, but when he does these tactical moves, also it pays off nicely, because O'Shane Thomas was not the one who started it in the previous match. He was not bowling that first spell. Cottrell is complementing him nicely, because he's someone who relies on the swing. He's got a decent short ball, but his strength is getting that swing going. So O'Shane Thomas starting was a great move. Paid off in terms of getting that Finch's crucial wicket, which is important. Cottrell made use of that shape as a left armer, what he gets nicely. But the highlight for me is that use of short ball by this West Indian bowling lineup, and rotation of the bowling as well, using O'Shane Thomas in just a short spell, and so is Russell. He's been used in these short bursts, which is very important, and then they have these 5 seam bowling option as well. It's a bit like old West Indian team where they had a lot of seamers, hardly a spinner there, and used to be the off spinner as well. So in this one as well, they have Nurse as a 6th bowling option. They would want to rotate these bowlers and get the maximum out of these bowlers to go. But at the moment, they are in a position of the strength. For Australia's batting lineup, it's important that Smith has to play that crucial role. I felt sending Maxwell up was not a very wise move. I understand the thought process behind that, because maybe they wanted to counter at that stage. It was still within the 10 overs, that first power play, only 2 fielders out. So if it pays off, you keep up with the tempo of the game and build that momentum which is required. But nonetheless, I think Stoinis and Smith looks like they have built that momentum, because the run rate right now is also 5 per over.
Yeah, I think good point Zaheer Khan makes, because ideally, even if you had lost a wicket and say that wicket had been Alex Carey, you would still have had Maxwell for that final push at the end. If Steve Smith holding ends one end up and you have those final 15 overs, Maxwell could have gone hard. So maybe the West Indies will breathe a sigh of relief. But yeah, you talked about the likes of Roger Harper being that one lone spinner to complement those pace bowlers. But Ashley Nurse will still have a bit of a role to play, because maybe in the second innings, but even then, if there's some dryness to exploit, he could do so.
There was mention of that. The wicket certainly has looked on the dry side. It's a lovely day out there today in Trent Bridge. You could see from all the long shots which been played on television that it's a nice, bright, sunny day. The wicket has got a little bit of extra bounce, which so far the West Indian bowlers have used. But apart from that, it hasn't looked alarming. It's still a good wicket to bat on. As a batsman, you got to get in and go on. That's what Smith and Stoinis did. They saw that phase through of short bowling. I think that's something which you will see right throughout the innings, which they'll have to be wary of. But with the ball getting a little older, I think this partnership, if at all anything, I think for Australia, this partnership needs a rescue effort from their side.
Unless, of course, remember this is the 22nd edition of the Cricbuzz Comm box we've had, or 23rd now since the start, and the record has been 16 out of 22 have seen wickets fall in the Cricbuzz Comm box. And I was just about to say, Zaheer, that, well, we haven't had that happen today, but just as I started my sentence, it's 17 out of 23, because Jason Holder is the man who's taken the wicket.
So it's 5 down now.
So it's now 5 down with Marcus Stoinis gone, Steve Smith still the glue holding it. Now, with 5 wickets down, just to conclude, again taken with a short ball, what is the kind of score they'd be looking at as a bare minimum to put this West Indian side in trouble? 220.
Well, even though it's early, no, I think they still need 270.
Will they get 270?
But I mean, I'm just saying, what is the ideal score on this track?
Okay, how much
Whether
can they get to this stage?
You never know, because Steve Smith is still there. So and they have Pat Cummins, Carey also can bat. So so does Nathan Coulter-Nile. So I think from the batting point of view, yes, they may not reach the ideal score which is required or they would have liked. But the wicket and the conditions are still apt to get 270, 280 runs. So and if Smith bats, he'll have to play a special innings. There's no doubt about that. But I think they should hope that they still get to that kind of total.
Yes, it's also that kind of day that gives you an example of why we are pushing for a rule change for that My 11th Circle expert couch, where you can revise it in the 15th over if possible, because we're all over 300, and I reckon even
Why
why
don't we start at 15 or in the mid innings?
We'll try. We're going to talk about this at the end of this game, because I think it makes a lot of sense, because so much changes in these first 15 overs. We'll come back in the 35th and see where we are.